Well, here we are, just a couple weeks out from Tears of the Kingdom official release on 5/12/2023, and kind of a retrospective slash commentary on the comment section on my prior video, dubiously entitled Tears of the Consumer. A lot of you guys had some very sharp, witty, and to the point critiques, and a lot of you, I would say 80% of you or more, said bad take, Retro Renovo, bad take, and here's why. And in reading some of the comments, it became clear that I don't think I really touched on the main root of my critique, right? I talked about some things that I saw in Aonuma's demonstration, and I said, wow, this is my opinion here. I said, wow, we're seeing kind of like a Zelda with Legos. I've seen channels now since then, tens of thousands of views, basically people saying the same thing I did. They just have a much wider reach. So I'm not sure if this video is going out to the right folks yet. It's still kind of training who wants to hear this stuff versus who doesn't, and we're kind of seeing that reflected in the data here. So anyway, a couple things. The root of my criticism here began predominantly with Breath of the Wild, and it began immediately. For those of you who probably recall, one of the first things that happens in that game, as I'm sure we all recall here, is Link is gifted essentially a smartphone, an iPad, right, some sort of a Kindle, right, the Sheikah Slate. So now we have this fairy boy who, historically speaking, grows up in a tree, wears cloth tunics, and now he has an iPad, and kind of the rest is history. And now we're seeing Link, who in years past was kind of an underdog, and particularly, I would say, the most well-known, most popular game in the franchise, Ocarina of Time, really hits on this vulnerability of child Link, and you slowly build and become this formidable adult Link who can then save Hyrule from evil. And now it seems that we have kind of eclipsed that, and we're going straight on into demigod Link with alchemical powers and knowledge, who can kind of tackle any issue, and we just assume that he can, and there's kind of this lack of the vulnerability that we had in prior titles, particularly Ocarina of Time. I'm mentioning that because I'd say not sales-wise, right? Not sales-wise, but popularity, fan base-wise, is widely regarded as the best. And there were some very sharp comments, like, well, the sales figures dictate what's most popular. Okay, sure, to a degree. But right now, sales figures are parents buying the games for their children. I'm hoping I don't have any, 12-year-olds here, right? If the statistics are accurate and the metadata for this channel is accurate, you folks are all in your late 20s. So this game isn't for you. It's not for me. So why then does Link have an iPad, right? These are the real questions that I'm getting at. And the gameplay oddities, like something so shallowly named as Ultra Hand, are simply symptomatic of the vector that the video game has become into the lives of our kids. Case closed. Next topic. A lot of things happening on the channel here soon, going back into some hard mods. Some stuff I had on the back burner for about a decade, and don't have really any excuse for that, but they're finally complete. And some new stuff, which totally out of left field, didn't even expect to be getting my hands on or really care about. Now I own one, so we're going to dig into that a little bit. But I digress. So another thing I wanted to hit on today, and this is kind of an open forum topic, and I'm going to be doing hopefully a collaboration here in the near future on this and try to really get some added visibility and trajectory here for those of you who have been following along for the last year. It's kind of been a rough ride. So we'll see what the future holds. But yeah, games being delisted. Games being delisted, games disappearing, services disappearing, the transition to digital from physical, the concept of video game ownership and ownership in general. Things that I've hit on, particularly in my GameCube versus PS2 edition and the Wii turning 16 edition videos that I did. Both touched on this topic, but did not really get into it too deeply because talking about this is widely regarded as walking on eggshells. So you can't really dig into this too much without saying some key words. And then, you might get yourself into a pickle there if you're trying to actually reach a meaningful and interested audience and an engaging audience. So that said, I think the time is ticking, the clock is ticking for game preservation. And I'm going to do a longer format dive into this soon. But I wanted to hit on this quickly now. And if you're still with me, I think you will be noticing a trend here. A lot of my past content here, if you've gone into that, has touched on this. And I think we're coming to a point now where the game preservation crowd really has a leg up on the rest of us. Now, I got into this a while back, I would say maybe 5-6 years ago, and making sure that I have preserved what I have physically in the digital realm. So when things start turning off, and they have started to turn off, and now we're really upping the ante here with the switch to digital consoles. I think this is only going to continue and expand and kind of become normalized, right? So just like a fairy boy who grew up in a Deku tree now having an iPad, right? Not actually owning a physical game is going to be normal, right? So Link with an iPad is normal now. Well, not owning your games anymore, that's going to be normal too. And paying forever and ever and ever and ever for stuff you'll never own, well, that's going to be normal too. And that's not because we choose it to be that way. That's being chosen for us. And the thing is, there are some pros to that. But the cons really haven't hit home yet. And I think along those lines, the stage is set for the end of game preservation. Those of you who know what I'm talking about and are following this at all, in your own lives, you've probably seen, the shake-up around, well, how do I do this? Or where do I go to get that? Or, how do I find this file? Where does that file go? All this stuff. The stage is set for those types of activities to become scrutinized, very much so. And this isn't like a call to action or a red alert kind of video, but I'm going to touch on these in a longer format. Hopefully going to do some collaboration here. If you have a channel out there and you would like to talk about this stuff, let me know. I mean, I'm all about it. And again, if you agree, disagree, we have a very logical and very understanding and good dynamic going on in the comment section. So any kind of off-the-wall nonsensical stuff is going to get removed. But we have that. Luckily, hasn't had to happen yet. There's actually a lot of good back and forth exchanges in the comment section, and particularly about the last video. And that's really an excellent thing. And I'm very thankful for those of you who felt the need to respond, either in a positive or a negative light. Again, I recognize that it was probably 80-20 negative, but that's good. You are, your voice is appreciated, and we need to do more of that. So anyway, the clock is ticking on game preservation. Go out there now if you're interested in, maybe if you're already into this hobby, and look up, let's just drop a little breadcrumb here, a little Easter egg kind of thing for the video. Go look up and see how the archive.org is doing. Go see if there's any court cases going on. Something you might want to check out. Check out archive.org, see what they're doing, see if there's any, anything going on, and take a few steps down the road and see what that might mean. And not just limited to that, but other things as well. If any of you have watched the Metal Gear Solid 2 AI conversation right, that Snake has with some sort of AI entity towards the end of the game. I think it's one of the closing scenes. Go check that out. Maybe I'll link that in here. Much credit to the folks who are able to keep that footage online. Kojima, right? Kojima, if you follow at all what I'm saying and you are still listening at this point in the video and you have not played Snatcher and you have not played Police Knots, play them. Get your hands on them however you can. I'll caution you right now, a physical copy of Snatcher on Sega CD is going to set you back about $1,200. So you might want to get creative, right? While you still can. And read between the lines there. Yeah, but we don't advocate doing anything unscrupulous here at Retro Renova. We're just trying to keep everybody informed and keep the playing field level. We're going to level the playing field here. So check out Snatcher, check out Police Knots, and of course, check out that ending segment of Metal Gear Solid 2. And just take a step back and look at what Kojima was predicting back in 1994, right? It's unsettling. His accuracy is unsettling. And he was recently interviewed about, Death Stranding 2, and somebody basically asked him what was going on with it, and he said, basically, I had to ditch the whole script because I didn't want to predict anything else. What does that mean? Did he, is he privy to information out there and he's slow dripping it to us or changing something just enough to make it inaccurate and holistically false, but surrounded by things that are true? And then, being told that he has to change the script. Okay. Anyway, topic for another day. We're going to hit that one hard in the future. And like I said, this is probably going to be my last video before Breath of the Wild 2, a.k.a. Tears of the Kingdom releases. So go out, get it, enjoy it. I'm going to go out and get it. And I'm going to be, as much as I'll be playing it, I will be studying it. And we'll get back to you on some first takes and some first looks and maybe some more formed and formalized opinions as time goes on. But anyway, if you're still with us here, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Appreciate your feedback. And until next time, have a good one.